Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Bob the Builder here, coming at you live from a fucking construction site. Yeah, that's right, I decided to make a video from the construction site in front of my house. So, that's great. Anyway, we're gonna talk about something a bit different today in this commentary video here. Today, we're gonna be talking about Top Gear, the brand new Top Gear, brand spanking new Top Gear that just launched the other day. And we're not talking about the Jeremy Clarkson Top Gear, the Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, James Bay anymore. It's new. They all got, well, Jeremy Clarkson got sacked and the other two left with him to make a show on Amazon, which I can't wait for. It's going to be pretty cool, I think. But at the moment, there is a new Top Gear with a new cast starring Chris Evans and Matt LeBlanc. Yeah, that's right, that really annoying British dude and Joey from Friends. Those are our car experts nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the people that tell you which cars are good and which cars are bad. Fucking Joey from Friends and the annoying British dude. So for those interested in Top Gear, you guys know that this brand new series, the 23rd series, has been quite the shitstorm so far. I've been enjoying reading all the articles about the problems with it during filming. For example, just to name a few of the problems from the top of my head. For example, Mr. Chris Evans here, the annoying British dude, he apparently has motion sickness. And I feel I have really bad motion sickness as well. I can't do cars for too long when I'm in the passenger seat, especially in the back of the car. I'm just dying every time. But apparently this dude has problems with actually driving the car. This guy gets motion sickness from driving the car himself. What? That actually hurts my brain a little bit. I'm not sure how that works, to be perfectly honest. But apparently it does. Apparently that's a thing that happens with him. He has motion sickness when driving the car, and he has to stop. That was one of the articles I read, that the guy had to stop filming because of motion sickness in his car. Yeah, don't mind me, guys. I'm totally not recording here. You can totally keep fucking whatever the fuck that is. God damn it! Another article that came out about the shitstorm oh my god, are you actually kidding me right now? Is this a joke? Hey! Shut the fuck up! Pardon me, guys. I'm sorry for the construction interruptions, but they're building a house in front of my house and it's pissing me off right now. Another shitstorm article that came out about the new Top Gear series and about Chris Evans. He seems to be a common theme, actually. Chris Evans had another problem while driving cars. Apparently he couldn't talk to the camera while driving a car. He couldn't talk while driving a car. So he has motion sickness and he can't talk while driving a car. Those seem to be the only things you shouldn't have issues with if you want to be a Top Gear presenter. But somehow this guy actually got Top Gear presenter and he can't talk while driving a car and he has motion sickness when he's driving the car. That's pretty fucked up. And apparently he had a lot of issues with his co-star Joey, aka Matt LeBlanc. So that's also great. So the new series launched the other day, and despite all the shitstorms that were happening, it actually was good. I know. Hear me out now. Oh, calm down. Don't go in the comment section, call me a faggot just yet. Hear me out, because I actually think the new Top Gear episode, the very first episode of season 23 or series 23, was actually good. I know. Fucking hang me from a tree. But wait, hear me out first. I'm not saying it was a perfect show, and I'm not saying it was anywhere near as good as the Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May version of the show. However, I think it was still a really good motoring show about cars. I think it was actually really entertaining for what it was. Of course, it was quite awkward at times, and it was awkward due to the fact that it's a new cast. They completely redone the set. Everything was a bit off, and everyone knew that, like, this is not it. This is not the show that everyone, started to love. This is something different, and they embraced that. They actually did really good of embracing the fact that this is a different show. They still follow a very similar formula to the actual original Top Gear show. However, now they mix things up. For example, there is no longer a star in a reasonably priced car. They went away with that That's gone now. That segment's deleted. It's off the charts. It's gone. No more Star in a reasonably priced car. And if you haven't seen the show, you might be like, what the fuck? How could they get rid of that? That's like the staple of Top Gear. Well, hear me out here. They've replaced it with something, I believe it's called Star in a Rally Car now, and where they stick a person in a Mini Cooper and they make them drive around the Top Gear track that's been edited to add rally segments to it, so you actually go off-road, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see that. I mean, like, it's a change, and that's what they need. They're changing the show. The show is now becoming different, and this is one of the changes they applied, and I must say, I think it's a pretty good change. It's very reasonable indeed. They also, I don't know if they're going to be sticking with this, but they changed the formula. Now there were 2 stars in the car. I don't recall personally seeing 2 stars on the show at the same time. That might have happened in the past, but this time around it was Gordon Ramsay, my fucking nemesis Gordon Ramsay, the guy who cut me in line on the airport, and Jesse Eisenhower, the dude who played Mark Zuckerberg in the Facebook movie and now played Lex Luthor, I believe, in the Batman vs Superman shit show. And it was kind of entertaining. They had a little script written, and it was kind of jokes. However, the segment felt a bit forced when they were talking about their past cars or whatever, and Chris Evans was just completely pushing Jesse Eisenhower, who apparently doesn't own any cars, to give him the best car, blah 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 blah. And that was a bit cringy. It was a bit forced. I did not enjoy that segment personally. However, I still think it was entertaining because Jesse Eisenhower and Gordon Ramsay made it quite entertaining. Chris Evans was pushing it, and I think he was the weakest link. Generally, he was the weakest link of the whole show, but I will get to that in a second, but this segment particularly. Also, it was kind of a mismatch because Gordon Ramsay actually drives cars really well. He races them, and he owns multiple, like, really great race cars. And Jesse Eisenhower doesn't drive a car because he lives in New York. So that was a bit unfair. Overall, though, that segment was pretty damn good. But now let's go back to what I mentioned before when I said Chris Evans is the worst part of the show, because he is. He's by far the worst segment, the worst part of the entire show at the moment. Chris Evans's humor relates to yelling. I personally yell a lot, but this guy is like next level yelling. He doesn't speak normal. Like, I'm not talking my normal voice. I'm talking, calmly. The guy starts off the show and just keeps yelling the entire way through. He just yells, and he thinks this is very entertaining to keep yelling at the audience because internet and the internet, they yell at people, right? No. Just stop, please. So he just yelled. He just yelled the entire way through. Every segment, when he's in the car, he's driving really fast. He's yelling. He's just screaming. He thinks that when you drive a car very fast, you have to go ah to signify that the car is driving fast. I really don't understand what that was about. Like, every time he was in a fucking car, he was yelling and screaming. It comes from me, so it's annoying when I complain about yelling and screaming. I just don't understand Chris Evans' humor. Honestly, I think he's the weakest link of the show. He's the head co-star of the show, and he's just the weakest link. Like, everything he does just feels so forced. It just feels really forced. It feels like it's been scripted, and he's just a terrible actor. That's what it feels like the entire way through the show. And it feels like that he thinks to entertain new age audiences like the internet, you need to be yelling and screaming the entire way through the show and making really cringy jokes. So I don't understand why that happens, but that's a thing apparently that happens. However, his co-star, Matt LeBlanc, Joey, holy shit, Joey, I was surprised. Joey was actually really, really good. Like, Joey was the... Okay, I'm gonna stop calling him Joey. Matt LeBlanc, Matt was the greatest part of that show, I think. Honestly, he was made to be a Top Gear presenter. He was on Top Gear before, and he was really cool about it, and now he's actually starring in Top Gear, and he's actually really funny. You could see that he's a proper actor, because obviously there's scripted parts, but his scripted parts, they felt more natural, and they felt more warm, more fun, and just more entertaining in general than Chris Voice Crack Evans. Matt LeBlanc didn't yell, he didn't scream, he didn't think that his jokes had to be, yelled at the entire time. His jokes were made perfectly. He made stabs at the old show. He made stabs at Jeremy Clarkson. It was actually really entertaining and really funny. I found it to be quite the good show on his part. You could see how uncomfortable he is around Chris Evans. For example, they made a Britain versus the US challenge, like UK versus US, where Chris Evans and Matt LeBlanc had different challenges they needed to complete. One was driving a Jeep, one was driving a Range Rover, like old World War II, I believe, or World War One even, Range Rover and Jeeps, and you could see how uncomfortable Matt LeBlanc was around Chris Evans. Like, Chris Evans would just make cringy yelling jokes, and Matt LeBlanc would be like, yeah, cool, dude. You could clearly see that there was no chemistry between the two. However, in his own segment, when Matt LeBlanc has his own segment about the dirt rally car or whatever, the one that's like a weird cage thing, that was so entertaining. It was actually really funny. It was a great bit of the show. I think it added a lot, and you could see that Matt LeBlanc was having a lot of fun filming by himself, and I think he is definitely the strongest part of the show so far. So let's everyone, even you. I can see your friend doesn't want to, but I know you and your friend will do it together. So let's go. Everyone, put your hands together and let's clap. Let's give a round of applause to Matt LeBlanc for being an actually good Top Gear presenter. Let's go. Come on, guys. Everybody. On your feet. Let's go. Woo! Also, the Stig is back. That was also pretty good. You could see that they keep with the formula. So that was great to see that Stig is still being the Stig and not something else. But generally, overall, I think that the show was actually really entertaining for what it was. Chris Evans, weakest link of the show by far. But in general, I think it was a pretty good motoring show, and it's not Top Gear, but it's still a really good show, and I think you should go check it out for sure. We'll see what the future brings. We'll see what the other episodes are like, but I personally think I'll stick with watching this show because overall, it surprised me. I was not expecting anything from it, and it actually turned out to be a good show. So yay, good for them, right? Good for Top Gear. Overall, I think that Chris Evans will be probably sacked by the end of the series, and he will be replaced by someone else because either he changes or he's sacked because he was a piece of shit. He was horrible. The first, he was bad. He was just really bad. Anyway, though, that about does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. So make sure to leave a like, and you will get your own Stig delivered to your house. He'll just stand there behind you, and that's it. He'll just stand there. He doesn't do anything else pretty much. So, but you know, it's worth it to get your own Stig so you can show off. So make sure to drop the like button, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. So yeah, peace.